Using Word and Excel, I'm going to create a fairly basic but effective infographic. First thing I'm going to do is change the style. I'm going to pick a theme here, color theme. I've made one called Western School Board. This is the colors we use. And so basically all the text and pre-programmed items of Word will follow within those colors. I'm also going to change the color of the background of the page. So I went to page layout, page color, and I'm just going to choose from the colors that come up from my theme a color that I like. Now, one thing you want to remember is when you go to print this out, your printer's going to see this as white. So if you put white text on this background, it won't print out. But if you convert it to a PDF first, then it will recognize the color and make it gray if you have a black and white printer, or a color if it's a color printer. So you just want to remember that. So there are several things that I'm going to use within Word here. I'm not going to just type in information and try and make it fit around stuff. Okay, I'm actually going to use some of the tools that Word has to create text in movable boxes or layers that can be moved around the screen and placed over things and placed beside things. First thing I'm going to do is go to Insert and create word art, and this time I'm going to make my title. I'm just going to pick the very first one because it's totally editable afterwards, and type in my title. Okay, you don't need to worry about the wrapping and formatting because you'll deal with that once this is in. So basically, that's what I want. I can choose different fonts here, but I'm just going to stick with Arial Black because it's clean, simple, and that's what infographics seem to have. Now you'll notice if I click off of this item, that this little extra toolbar disappears. So when I click onto it and select it, we've got this extra toolbar. And it's called Word Art Tools. And this will happen for anything you select. The toolbar here will change according to what it is. So if I click on the Word Art Toolbar format, you can see I can go edit that text anytime. I can edit the spacing. I can change what it looks like. I can play around with all these things. Okay, I'm going to just go back to where I was. To the plain old one, because that's what I want. Now most infographics will have just a plain font, no outline. So you can see here there's outline. I'm going to change that. So now we have social media reality check, and that looks fairly similar to like what a lot of infographics will be using. Now I cannot move this around. Right now this text box or word art is actually within the lines of text. So if I put text in front of it and behind it, at the end of it, put it behind it. Okay, it's part of the layer on the one layer. Okay, I actually want to change this so that I can move it around wherever I want. So if I go to Format, you need to treat it just like a picture. See where it has text wrapping? You have behind text, in front of text. It doesn't matter. I just pick behind or in front. It doesn't matter because now you can see I can move it wherever I want on the screen in front of the text. If I chose behind text, it'd be behind the text. It doesn't matter. I just want to make it to a layer. I will delete those items out. No, getting interfered with each other, so I'm just going to go here, delete. Okay. So that's my first guy. The other thing I did was I actually downloaded, I have my other example here that I already created, a graphic that kind of went along with the theme, and I can just paste that in. Again, notice once I select it, now I have a tool called Picture Tools, text wrapping, behind or in front of text, doesn't matter, but you can see now that I can move them on top of each other back and forth. And I just thought I'd put it in there because it was like kind of infographic-y. I didn't put a lot of graphics in this because it's my first one. Okay, so to set the stage, I want to kind of show my audience is going to be parents, that I got my information from grade 6 students. So I'm going to insert, I'm going to say text box. I'm just going to say a plain text box for now. You can change this up later. So my total number of grade 6 students it's a pretty good sample, especially for our board. I think I only missed about 3 or 4 classrooms. Again, I can move this around. Is it automatically picked in front of text? But if it hadn't, you know what to do, right? You just go there and pick that. I actually want to make this like a text box with an arrow on it. So up here we've got some options, change shape. I'm going to choose that. And if you see here, there's a box with an arrow going down. That's what I want. It's not pretty yet, I know. I'll resize it in a minute so that it fits better. But first thing I'm going to do is to keep my infographics somewhat consistent. I'm going to take advantage of the pre-programmed theme items. So if you click the down arrow here, you can see there's a whole bunch within my color scheme, my themes, that I can use. I'm just going to use this one for now. I like it. It's plain and it's simple. Obviously, the text is not going to show up very well, so I'm going to highlight the text, go back to home, because it's where you edit your text, change it to white. I'll make it bold just to make it stand out a little bit more, which means I have to resize. And I'm going to center it, because I like things centered. Okay. If I tuck it, I don't want, there we go. I'm going to put it that size, and move it up and over a bit. Okay, the other thing is, I'm actually going to use 2 sides. Some infographics will be horizontal or whatever. I'm actually going to use 2 sides. So I'm going to insert a line to go in between. So insert a shape. A line is a shape, believe it or not. So you can pick from these regular ones or recently used shapes if you have it there. So I'm just going to pick that. Now you'll notice I get stuck right about here. Not a problem. Scroll down, click on the little green dot, and continue dragging it down, it will extend. I also want it to go with my theme, which is going to be the whites and greens, so black isn't going to fit it for me. Okay, I'm going to use that just to bring some things out. So if I go to shape outline, change my weight to make it a little wider, not quite that wide, 3, and you can see I can also change the color here. So now it's white. Okay, so there we go. We have our little center thing. If you look up here, you've got your ruler, and if you're not very good at eyeballing, you can use your ruler to kind of adjust. Okay. To make slight changes, you can use your mouse, but if you select the item, and you can see here I have it selected, there's a handlebar on either side, you can just use your back and forth arrows to move it exactly where you want it. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is actually have the percentage of students that use the internet every day. So rather than going and inserting a new thing, I actually want to use the same style. So I'm just going to copy it, paste it. I use Control-C and Control-V for copy, but you can do your traditional however you do it, okay? Whether you right-click, select it, right-click, copy, then paste, doesn't matter, okay? Whatever you're comfortable with. I've selected this. I can edit that by clicking up on the Edit Title button, and it is 71.52% is what I want to get across here. I can resize this. Okay, looks pretty good so far. If that happens, just move that back up. Just you need to have your lines put in on Word. Okay, so in this case, I'm actually going to take advantage of the text and just use regular text here because there's no need to go and put this in separately. Internet every day. And let's put period out, and that's automatically correctly looks better. Okay. I need to say, what do they use it for? And normally I would encourage using your centering tools and whatnot, but in this case, because it's a little bit more graphical, just use the spacebar and whatnot. So I'm going to call this Social Media Reality Check Infographic, just so I want to say that. I should have saved it right from the get-go. I was working on another version earlier that I've just copied over, but that's fine. Okay, so the grade 6s I pulled. If I'm going to go to my Excel spreadsheet here, just Take this out of your way. This is what I asked them about, a bunch of different things here, okay? We have all our totals at the top. I was interested for this infographic on these items, what they're using, how they're interacting socially online. So I took those and I copied them down here. So to insert it, I want to put it in as a chart, okay? A polygraph would be nice. So I just highlight the categories, the series, and the percentages, okay? Go up to insert, and in this case I want a pie chart. I like the 3D pies, especially for infographics. I'm going to click on that. Don't worry about editing and making it all perfect here, because once you move it over to Word, it's going to change anyway. So if I click on it, you can see it's not selected. When I click on it, you can see it's selected. So I'm going to copy that from here and go to my working one and paste it in. Before I even do anything, notice again up here, Chart Tools, it's changed. I'm going to go Format, Text Wrapping, in front of text. That way you know I can move it again, right? I'm going to resize it a little bit, but I'm not going to get too excited about that yet because I actually want this information at the bottom. You'll notice it's changed color from my Excel version, okay? And that's because it's taking on the theme of this document. So in this case, I'm going to go here to Design, which changes the look of something, and I'm just going to pick a more three-dimensional version. I know it's green in the background. I'm going to change that. Next thing I'm going to do is change the layout a little bit. So it's still to keep it on the look, but it's changing the layout. So I'm going to go here, and that's what I would like a little bit more. It gives me a little bit bigger graphic, tells our information, but at the same time, it's still not quite where I want it. I want to have the data on it. So I'm going to highlight it, right click, and choose Add Data Labels. Now you can see that the data labels are in the chart. So you can see that Facebook has 69.5. And right now the color isn't exactly perfect, but what I'm going to do is go to Layout, Design, Format. That's what I'm going to do. Change my shape fill to no fill, and that doesn't show up very well which one is which, does it? So let's go back to Format, here we go, and pick a slightly different version with more variation. I'm going to make it bigger. More variation. Looks like probably this one. Yeah, that's got more variation. Go back here. I want to get rid of the background, so Format, Shape Fill, No Fill. That's a little better. The text is not exactly sticking out, so I'm going to change it to white, make it bold. Okay, so see how you can use the combination. Ooh, the other thing I don't want is outline, do I? Around it. So if I go to Format, Shape Outline, No Outline, that gets rid of it. Shape Outline, No Outline. There we go, that gets rid of it. Okay. A couple other things, and you'll be able to finish off the infographic. Okay, so we've done a text box, we've done word art, we've used plain text, done some graph manipulation.